how do we instruct the public? What are the different formats that instruction can take? How do we build these digital connections, these community connections? And so as a library, as library professionals, you have many tools at your disposal. There's many formats. You have one-on-one, you have small group instruction, you have large group instruction and lecture style classes, drop-in, this passive programming, passive learning opportunities. And then of course, because this is the year 2021, there's really two main environments, right? There's in-person and there's that virtual remote option. And so you can apply those two environments to pretty much most or all of those formats. When we look at one-on-one instruction, of course, that's one instructor and one student, right? That's one of those questions they ask on the our state report. How many one-on-one sessions did you offer and what was the attendance? I feel like that's a trick question. So you have one instructor and one student. And one-on-one appointments really work well when you're doing, an appointment on a specific concern, right? It's not open-ended, it's not ask me anything. Those don't tend to go well. But conducting a good reference interview, having an intake form, so like Google Forms, where you can collect that information, prepare the staff member, and then of course, prepare the patron as well. You want to make sure that the staff member knows what the patron's concern is, what we're going to be going over, and that you can prepare the patron so that they know, hey, you kind of need to have your password. You need to bring your device. Those things that you can get out of the way so you can have the best results. And these generally last between 30 minutes and an hour. I think when we, depending on your learning style, I know that after about an hour, I can't absorb any more information, especially when it's new information. So it's good to not go too long with these. And then of course you follow up. If you're thinking about doing this in a virtual environment, you need to assess the virtual format. If you're dealing with a patron who is really having a beginner question and has real unease with technology, one-on-one instruction when they have to first learn how to use Zoom is not going to serve them well. If you need to access their smartphone and you can't practically do that over video conferencing, that's not going to be a help. Some things may be more helpful. You may be able to offer advice. In fact, the virtual format may help you more when sometimes they can't bring the thing in to help you. They can't drag their computer to the library. So you always want to assess, is virtual the right format for these things? Small group instruction tends to be one instructor, sometimes an assistant, right? Somebody to help out, do some of the wrangling. And that's effective for topics where all learners are on the same page, right? You don't put beginners and experts in the same group, but if everybody has a similar concern and ability, that's good. And having prerequisites, of course, is important. So if I'm teaching a class on, how to use my iPhone, I should make sure that everybody's using the same operating system and it's up to date. And that's the prerequisite. Have that and have your iTunes password. Small group instruction, again, works well where everybody's on the same page. Large group instruction feels like a thing of the past right now, given the present environment, right? But this can take place online. In person is probably going to have to wait until, things improve pandemic-wise. But this works well for informational, for lecture style. When we talked about things like cryptocurrency, right? If you have a topic that can be addressed lecture style and isn't hands-on, of course, this is a good format. And it works well too for an online format. But again, avoid hands-on topics because that's just entirely impractical in a large group setting. It's much better talking, I wouldn't say talking at because that sounds bad, but less interactivity the larger the group is. Drop-in classes is something we've done quite a bit, right? Open-ended scheduling, you always want to consider your ratio of staff to the length of instruction. What do I mean by that? Well, if I'm having a drop in class and the thing I'm showing people takes a long time, then I'm going to be tied up with one patron for quite a bit of time before the next one comes in. If the thing I'm doing, I'm just showing you how to get the Libby app on your smartphone, I can do that pretty quickly. My turnover is pretty quick. You can always have volunteers help wrangle with that as well. As always, manage the patron expectation, define what the material is that you're going to be covering. I know some of us are fans of having drop in and just saying like, ask me anything. It's just a tech help hour. That works until it doesn't, until you get stumped, until it takes a long time, and then there's a log jam. And you always want to have the patron in the best position to succeed. That means having them ready, having ready access to your ILS system if you need to look up a barcode or deal with an account issue. Make sure the patrons have all the passwords they need ahead of time, so they're not spending all their time banging their head against an iPad trying to get in. And finally, passive approaches to tech instruction. I think this is one that's underutilized. I'm a big fan of interactive displays. On the right here, you can see that's a 3D printing display. That was one where, listen, I have a printer. I have lots of information about how 3D printing works, how it works specifically at my library, what services are there, demonstrations on how it can be used, things that show infill percentage. It's an interactive learning opportunity. The printer was always humming, so people could see how the technology works. They can just pass through, they can get information. That's instruction happening on the patron's time. Okay, and we're in a much more transactional environment now. So having patron-driven instruction is kind of useful. Equipment lending is a great way. Remember, we talk about the importance of access for patron tech instruction. Now with the cost of you know uh, mobile devices going down, that's an opportunity. If I want to learn how to use an e-reader, I can borrow one. Now that augmented reality and virtual reality can be powered by a smartphone, by a tablet, that's an opportunity to lend that technology out and teach people that way. And then there's third-party opportunities for online learning. I shouldn't say, well, online learning that can be staff-driven, of course, right? Staff can record instruction. Many of us have done virtual programming. Um, there's third-party services like Lynda, like um, Udemy. We can engage in instruction with social media posts, with blog posts that go more long form, that explain a topic that maybe people are questioning, have questions about, and we're viewed as an authoritative, trustworthy source. And of course, we cite our work. We can provide instruction in those ways with blog posts on our website using social media.